Okay, story time really quick. So I have a friend and he and his wife were going to Japan this last week. And so he called me up and he said, "Hey, Bryce, I will be in Japan all this week. If you want, I have 2 more sessions with my trainer at the gym. If you want them, they're yours." And so I said, "Sure, I'll meet with your trainer." So I went and worked out with his trainer yesterday and it was leg day. Now, I'm not a gym rat. I don't go to the gym all the time. I do decently, I try and go 1 or 2 times a week, but I'm definitely one of those guys that doesn't like to work my legs. I definitely prefer upper body. Anyway, yesterday was leg day. I woke up this morning and I sat down on the toilet, do my business. When I was finished, I tried to stand up and I couldn't. So I was thinking to myself, those old person toilets that have the rails on the side, I had to use my arms to lift myself off the toilet so I could stand up. Anyway, that's not at all what we're talking about today. Today, we're actually talking about why I'm done with Fundrise. Okay, so yeah, you did hear that right. I am done with Fundrise for the foreseeable future. In this video, we're going to talk about why I'm done with Fundrise, what I'm doing instead, and why I'm pulling my money out of Fundrise in the first place. There are a ton of things that I really like about Fundrise, and I still preach that and teach that. I do like Fundrise, but there's also a couple things that I don't love so much. And so today we're going over those different things that I'm not a fan of and ultimately that have led me to removing my money from Fundrise entirely. Before I get into those reasons though, I do want to throw a disclaimer out there and say I am not at all in any way, shape, or form upset with Fundrise. Even though I've removed my money from Fundrise, I still believe that it's a really great platform and I think it's a really viable investment for 2020 and the future as well. If you're new here to the channel, welcome. Thanks for being here. My name's Bryce. I talk about everything from personal finance to real estate investing. And occasionally I will sprinkle a few things here and there about my personal life, such as when I work out and can't lift myself off the toilet. Most of the time, I don't talk about my bowel movements though, and we talk about business and investing. So if you like videos just like this, please be sure to subscribe down below by clicking on the red subscribe button. And also be sure to give me a thumbs up because that really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Okay, first and foremost, let me just say that this is not going to be a full review of Fundrise. I did a full review just a couple weeks back. If you're interested in watching that video first, I highly recommend that, and you can find the link to that video down in the description below. At the time of this recording, it is February 2020, and you can see that my Fundrise balance is currently sitting right around $1,082. I threw $1,000 into Fundrise just to try it out a year ago, and so you can see that over the course of the year, I made about $80, which comes out to 8%, which is about what I was expecting. I really wasn't expecting to do more than that, by crazy amounts. Are those great? I mean, it's fine, but I'm not disappointed either. I mean, it was $1,000 that I had sitting in my bank account and it probably would just be sitting there anyway. So I threw it into Fundrise, I made $80 and yeah, I'm happy. I mean, it's money that I've earned having to do literally zero work whatsoever. But that in and of itself is reason number 1 why I'm actually pulling my money out of Fundrise. The returns themselves are just sort of okay. They're not great, they're not bad, they're fine. So in contrast, I know some people who have taken $1,000. Actually, I have 2 friends that took $1,000 at the beginning of 2019 and they threw it into the stock market. With that $1,000, they threw it in, they just bought a couple random stocks, and then they left it. They didn't touch it, they didn't rebalance their portfolio throughout the course of the year, they just left it. Now, at the end of 1 year, they looked at their portfolio, both of these people, and they made 30 to 35% returns in the stock market. I mean, really, over the course of 1 year with $1,000, walking away with $300 profit, that's incredible. Okay, hold on though. Before you roast me in the comments, I realized that this is just a small sample size of 2 people. I get that. This is not like everyone's experience. This is 2 people that I know, and this was just their experience. I also realized that these people could have been very lucky with the stocks that they picked. I also realized that this is one of the longest and highest earning bull runs in the history of the stock market. I also realized that this is not sustainable over the next 20 years. I realized this, I realized that, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm saying. The point is, people threw a random $1,000 in the stock market and made 30 to 35% returns, whereas I made 8% in Fundrise. If I came to you and said, would you rather make $80 or $350? I can almost guarantee you would choose the 350. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I don't care if it's short-lived. I don't care if there's no way to repeat this, but really, truly, I would much rather have walked away with $350 instead of 80. Even if it's short-lived, I would still take the 35% return. And so that's why I'm not super impressed with Fundrise. If the market is doing super well, you know for a fact that real estate is also doing about equally as well. So while I'm returning 8%, I feel like the real estate investments purchased through Fundrise should be doing quite a bit better, at least in the 12 to 14% range. Fundrise has overhead, they have people they have to pay, there's other investors, everybody gets a cut, everybody gets a share. I understand all that, I get all that, but I think that I should have been making better than 8%, considering the amazing economic climate that we're currently in. Reason number 2 that I'm done investing with Fundrise is liquidity. Okay, and again, before somebody roasts me alive in the comments below, I understand that the asset class that I choose to invest in, which is primarily real estate, is low liquidity just by its nature. That's just how real estate works. If you own a house, you can't just put it on the market and sell it within 30 seconds like you can with a stock. You have to clean up the property, you have to take pictures, you have to put it on the MLS, you have to deal with banks and appraisals and realtors and all these different things. I mean, really truly, you're gonna have 30 days minimum before you can sell this property. I understand that, believe me, I do. But Fundrise is slightly different. It's a crowdsourced real estate platform where you purchase real estate in the form of a REIT. When you invest in Fundrise, you give them your money, they take that money and purchase physical real estate with it, and then you get a cut of those profits in return. I don't know exactly how long it's gonna take Fundrise to give me my money back because I just issued the disbursement a couple days ago, but from what I've been reading online, people are saying it usually takes 2 to 3 months to get all of your money and your dividends back. The reason for that is because your money is tied up in a project. And so the project either has to get refinanced or has to be closed out before you can take those funds, cash out, and then they can pay you your money. It's quite the process. I understand the process, but the thing that I don't understand is if you're purchasing real estate through the form of a REIT through Fundrise, why not just purchase a REIT directly? Because then you can cash out and sell it whenever you want without having to wait this 2 to 3 months. Giving my money to Fundrise is fine, but it gives me less control on when I want to cash out, when I want to sell, if I need to pull it out for some other investment that I want to move my money into. And really, truly, I'm all about control. And so that's reason number 2 why I don't feel like Fundrise is for me. Reason number 3 is I genuinely just prefer owning physical real estate. If you're new to the channel, you may not know this, but many of my other viewers know that we own quite a few rental properties. We have physical units that we own, and along with that, we currently have 3 house flips that are being actively rehabbed. I don't know what it is, but to me, there's something really cool about being able to drive down the street and pass a property that we own and say, that's ours, we own that. Even if I'm not physically living in it, it still feels very cool to me that I own that property and I own that property and I own that one too. I don't know. To me, it just has a different feeling, I guess. It's just cool to me that I can drive to my properties and check up on them. I can see how they're doing. Even with Fundrise, you know, it has the list of all your different investments. It shows you these nice, pretty pictures of what they're doing and what's going on, and you know, the expected returns you're supposedly going to make, and you know, all these different things. It's great. But I like that I can drive up to my property and I can say, I don't like that it's yellow. I want to change it to blue. Oh, it needs a new roof. It needs this, it needs that. There's just, I don't know. It's just, it feels more real to me, whereas I may sort of kind of be invested in this temporary project over in Virginia that I sort of own. I can see how my properties are doing. I can go and physically touch it. I mean, I could smell and lick it if I really wanted to, I guess. Anyway, I think this really just boils down to the fact that I'm a control freak. I kind of have a hard time letting go and letting other people handle things because I feel like I'm missing out on opportunities. When I can kind of manage the project and make that increase in wealth by increasing its value and providing more value to other people, I like that. I like that game. I like being involved in the project. I also like that I can drive down the street and find older, outdated, or even just mismanaged properties. I can purchase them, I can rehab them, and then I can flip them quickly and make $20,000 to $30,000 over the course of 3 or 4 months. Or even if I decide that I want to rehab them, I have the option to keep them as rental properties and just make a consistent residual cash flow. I guess, long story short, I like owning physical real estate because I have all the control. I can choose what I want to do, how I want to do it. I can choose how I want to increase the value. And having complete control of the project, in my mind, allows me to make more profits rather than putting my money in somebody else's hands to maybe make a significantly smaller cut. I'm a control freak. I like to be in charge. I realize that these are not good options or good reasons for everybody. Not everybody wants to be hands-on. Maybe people like the idea that Fundrise is 100% passive. And I do like certain aspects of that. And because of that, that's why I think that Fundrise is still a very viable tool and probably an important part to your entire investment portfolio, because it is hands-off and it is 100% passive. Maybe you live in California or New York or some other part of the country or around the world where you just don't feel like you can purchase an asset and make money from it. Maybe property values are way too high. Maybe there's this really ridiculously high barrier to entry. If that's the case, Fundrise is perfect for you. Or maybe you're nervous. Maybe you don't feel like you know enough to purchase a rental property or a house flip or something. You're not quite ready to get, you know, completely drenched in the project. You just want to dip your toes in instead. If that's you, that's totally fine. Fundrise is an amazing way to get started, begin investing, and have somebody kind of hold your hand throughout the process. So again, I'm not hating on Fundrise. I actually really like Fundrise and still continue to recommend it to lots of people who want to get started with some aspect of real estate. But for me at least, I think that there are better options, and so that's why I've decided to pull my money out of Fundrise and probably won't be investing with Fundrise for the foreseeable future. If you're interested in Fundrise, I highly recommend that you check out my full Fundrise review, which I did a couple weeks back. And I really go into the nitty-gritty details, talking about the pros and the cons of Fundrise and why you should use it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next video.